Welcome back, everybody, to my latest Disney World 4-park challenge, kind of. We have a very special guest today, my co-host, Pal Mickey. Pal Mickey is a long discontinued toy from the 2000s that would interact with different sensors all across Walt Disney World's 4 parks. But the question is, does he still work today in 2025? Why don't you guys come along? Let's go make some memories together. Pal Mickey was introduced in 2003 and went through a few iterations before finally being discontinued in 2008. He would interact with over 400 infrared sensors throughout the parks with over 700 different things to say. And when you weren't at the parks, Pal Mickey would still function as an in-home toy with different games and jokes. Now today's goal is to A, see if he still functions within the park, if he knows where he's at, if he's gonna tell me specific information about the location he's in, and B, to acknowledge things that are no longer there. Rides, shows, attractions, entire lands. A lot has changed in 15 years here at the parks. Now he has a little hip clip you can use, but I think I might just swaddle him like a little baby all day. So the way he's supposed to function is that he's supposed to vibrate and giggle when there's something nearby he wants to tell you, when one of those infrared sensors activates. So I think the goal for today is to walk around each and every area and to just see if he is prompted to tell me anything. And if not, I'll squeeze his tummy and see if he is still activated to say something about the location he's in. All right, we have made it into our first park of the day, Magic Kingdom. And not gonna lie, I already feel very, very awkward carrying this guy around. Adult in his mid-30s, walking around a theme park, holding a little stuffed animal baby, you know, whatever, it's fine. The locations I'm most intrigued by in this park are gonna be Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which used to be Splash Mountain, Tom Sawyer's Island, because that is going away at some point, and New Fantasyland. I think those will be some good spots to hit up. He could even be triggered by something that's been long-standing, like the fire station. So we're gonna pop in here and see if he does anything, and we'll, I guess, prompt him to see if he'll tell us any information. All right, he's not prompting for anything. Let's see.
What did the 101 Dalmatians say after they finished their dinner? That is the spot.
Now, I don't know if that counts, or if that's just like circumstance that he happened to tell a Dalmatians joke while we're in the fire station. Does that count? I don't know. Wait, he just did it, hold on.
That elephant next to Minnie, that's Walt's brother, Roy. He helped make Walt's dream of the Magic Kingdom come true. So now he gets the best seat in the house. Lucky guy.
No way. Okay, hold on. That was wild. Like, I'm legit not making that up. He literally just activated. He activated near the Roy Disney statue and Minnie. And it's not usually over here. Sometimes it's actually over near the City Hall. So this is the tribute placard to Walt Disney World when it first opened in October of 1971. It says, Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney and to the talents of dedication and the loyalty of the entire Disney organization that made Walt Disney's dream come true. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place, a magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh, play, and learn together. That is crazy to me. Oh my God, I am so hyped for this video now. I went in not thinking anything was ever going to happen, and we're already off to a great start. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. All right, Mickey, let's see what you can do. We're gonna do a few laps around the partner statue and see if he'll activate for Walt. Wow, no Walt, that's crazy. Like, there's no way he didn't originally communicate with the Walt statue. So kind of surprised that Roy's is still active, but even more surprised that Walt's is not active. So I wonder if they've done construction to it the last few years. Maybe when they expanded the hub, maybe that's when it happened. I don't know. Since we're here next to Adventureland, I might as well go ahead and enter through this way and just do the park clockwise. So hoping for hits near Pirates, hoping for hits near Jungle Cruise. The thing is, I don't know how far his reach is. I don't know if I need to be like in the attraction or if walking by is good enough. Because when I got triggered by the Roy infrared, I was kind of far from it. I was over near the entrance to the Emporium and he was all the way over by that flagpole. I'm also really hoping that I run into a cast member that worked here when he was active, just to see if they remember him, or just to, like, for someone to ask what this is, like, why am I carrying this around? I'm over here in the thoroughfare between Enchanted Tiki Room, Jungle Cruise, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, and he didn't prompt for anything, but we're gonna squeeze him and see if we have anything about Adventureland. So I feel like this is a good, like, centralized spot.
Why did Goofy wear 2 pairs of pants when he played golf? He thought he might get a hole in one.
Not Adventureland related. Unfortunately, nothing at Pirates. Wow, that's actually kind of surprising. In fact, there was nothing in Adventureland that he hit at all. So I don't know if I have to go to every far corner to see if that infrared will reach it, but that does mean next we are headed over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure here in Frontierland, which again used to be known as Splash Mountain. Now, when it comes to construction of things, I think Tiana's Bayou Adventure might still work because the shell of the attraction for Splash Mountain is still there. It's still at its heart Splash Mountain. But things like entire lands, whether they were leveled and then built to something different, I don't think that one's going to work. Unfortunately, nothing over Tiana's, but we are here right next to Big Thunder Mountain, which is actively going under some construction right now to retrack the entire thing. I think give us a little bonus ending with some cool special effects. It's gonna be down the entire year.
What did the judge say when a skunk came into the courtroom? Oh, they're in the court!
Okay, that was actually kind of funny. That was actually kind of funny, Mickey. I like that. Now, did he tell me that because skunks could be part of the American frontier? I don't know. I feel like I'm like stretching to find reasons that he's telling me the things that he is. I really feel like I should go over to Tom Sawyer's Island because it is slated to go away for a new Cars themed attraction. That's a conversation for another day. But it's so time consuming to get over there, and because I'm trying to fit in all 4 parks, I don't know if I'm gonna make that happen today. But if you guys remember having a pal Mickey when you were younger and you went over to Tom Sawyer's Island, let me know in the comments if he did activate. If he did, maybe in another video or a short, I'll head over there and do a little bit of extra testing. Not a single thing here in Liberty Square. As you can see, I'm right outside the Haunted Mansion. Mickey is silent. So we're gonna squeeze him like we've been doing, and we're gonna see if he mentions anything presidential, anything spooky.
What would you get if you crossed a cow and a duck? Milk and whackers.
Mickey, that's not a very scary joke. Making my way here into Fantasyland, which could have a lot of potential hits. There's a lot of classic attractions here. I also forgot to do the castle, so we're gonna have to walk through the castle and see if there's any interaction in there. I think 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was already gone by that point, but Toontown was still here. Snow White's Scary Adventures was also still here during that time period. Just passed by the Sword in the Stone, and surprisingly nothing. I actually expected that one to trigger as well. So unfortunately, it looks like I can't walk through the castle right now because they just wrapped up the Friendship Fair stage show, but I'm close enough. Mickey, tell me, is there anything you want me to know about Cinderella Castle? I spoke too soon. Mickey wants to tell me something.
Can you find Cinderella's 2 wicked stepsisters in that picture? Here's a clue. One is red with anger, and the other's green with envy.
It's literally referencing this mural, this mosaic of the story of Cinderella. So you've got Cinderella right here. She's trying on the glass slipper, and it wanted me to come check out Anastasia and Drizella, who are her sisters. So red and green. Oh, there's a little Lucifer. I've never noticed him there. That's cute. That's so funny that I literally just said, oh no, he doesn't have anything to tell me. And I took another step forward and then he activated. I'm gonna do a lap around the castle. So I'm gonna go down this ramp, then go up and around the up ramp, see if anything happens. Come on, Mickey, I know you got something in you. I know you got something else to tell me. We hit something good over here. There's gotta be more you can tell me about the castle, Fred. I'm gonna walk past the same spot again to see how fast the like reset period is, if it's like instant or if there's a long cooldown for it. And nothing. So I assume because I've already activated that one, that he doesn't want to like overload you with information. Before we press on into New Fantasyland, I want to see if Mickey has anything to tell me about princesses, Peter Pan, It's a Small World, anything.
How did the witch keep her scraggly old hair in place? She used hairspray.
That's a good one, Mickey. Not gonna lie. Also, that was Fantasyland related. We are right outside where Snow White's Scary Adventures used to be. Now it's Princess Fairy Tale Hall, where you can meet princess friends, arguably a lot less scary. If you guys are wondering what constitutes as New Fantasyland, once you reach these like spires and the separation in the brickwork, that's where New Fantasyland starts. Now, calling it New Fantasyland is still kind of funny because this has been open for like 13, 14 years at this point. So not new, but newer than the whole rest of it. But none of this existed, or at least most of this did not exist when this guy was around. There were other attractions that were over here, or there was nothing over here. So because it was a big overhaul project and a lot of demolition, a lot of construction, I'm going to assume that the things that he would normally tell me about are physically not there anymore, like the sensors are gone. Now that does also include Mickey's Toontown Fair, which is now Storybook Circus. And because again, this was a big demolition rebuild project, I'm not anticipating any of the hits to still be over here. Just as I assumed, nothing. It would have been really cute to hear him talk about his house or Minnie's house or the county fair that used to be here. But we're gonna squeeze him to see if he'll still tell us something about his friends.
Hey, here's one for you. Now, why can't Pinocchio play the guitar? Because he's got no strings. To play the guitar, he's got no strings at all. Gosh.
Again, very clever, but not the joke or information we're looking for, unless Pinocchio has moved into Toontown. One thing I forgot to check is this tree at the beginning of the Winnie the Pooh queue. Now this tree has moved. It didn't always used to be here. It used to be over where the Little Mermaid is. So I wonder if there's anything to do with Pooh and his playground area. I was right. Oh my gosh.
Some heffalumps and woozles jumped out and almost scared the gloves off of me. Now, if we go to the 100-acre wood, I am not going to be scared. No, sir, not me. You are going to be with me, aren't you?
Of course, Mickey. I would never let you be alone. That's so crazy. That's our third hit today. And I don't know if it's the attraction that triggered him or if it's the treehouse here, but I'm so glad that I stopped by here because we got him to do another thing. So that makes me wonder, should I have been entering attraction queues? Like for Haunted Mansion, was it only going to hit if I was like entering the actual attraction? It's a very busy day today, so there is zero time for any kind of attractions at all. But that kind of makes me wonder now. We are now officially leaving Fantasyland and entering into Tomorrowland. And I definitely want to hear if he's going to mention anything about like Buzz Lightyear. We're right next to Cosmic Ray Starlight Cafe. A lot of Tomorrowland is still the same as it was many years ago when Mickey was around. The only thing I believe that's like new is Tron. But I don't think there was anything out past that. So I don't think it's even worth our time going out there. One thing that was still here when Mickey functioned was Stitch's Great Escape. Rest in peace. Unfortunately, this attractions area is all used for stroller parking now, and Mickey did not go off. So I'm gonna assume that that infrared beacon is gone. Unfortunately, not a single hit here in Tomorrowland. None of the attractions triggered Mickey to say anything. But we're right here in front of Space Mountain. I figured this would be a good spot to at least test to see if he has any Tomorrowland knowledge.
Have you read Buzz Lightyear's book about anti-gravity? You can't put it down.
Okay, again, he said something in regards to Tomorrowland. He did mention Buzz Lightyear. All right, well, I think that's a wrap on Magic Kingdom. Well, we have 3 more parks left. I think we're gonna head over to Animal Kingdom next. Originally, I was thinking, Animal Kingdom hasn't changed very much. And it really has. With the addition of Expedition Everest, the removal of Camp Mini Mickey, and the addition of Pandora. Dino Land is in the process of going away. It's Tough to Be a Bug just left like a week or 2 ago. And I think my first stop's gonna be the Tree of Life. See if we can get any hits on the show that used to be there. It's Tough to Be a Bug. Oh man, it's like it never even existed. That's wild. But what's nice is that this is an actual trail. Like the trail itself is an attraction. So we're gonna wander the trail, maybe some facts about the Tree of Life itself, animal information, stuff about the show or the characters like Flick or Hopper. Excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. Kangaroo, have you seen any infrared sensors that Pal Mickey could interact with? Maybe? How long have you been here? Have you been here the last 15 years? Maybe not, you actually look kind of small. Okay, thanks anyways, I'll go look around myself. I think the locals would be more helpful. I guess I never gave Mickey a good squeeze to see if he's gonna tell me any information about Animal Kingdom, see if he knows he's in Animal Kingdom.
Hey, pal, what's an astronaut's favorite meal of the day? Lunch.
That is not animal related, that's space related. Mickey, we just left Tomorrowland, we just left Magic Kingdom. You could at least say the one for like Hollywood Studios or Epcot. The one park that has like, well, no, I guess there is space stuff here. Never mind. All right, carry on. Like I said earlier, Dino Land is going through a huge transformation. They're completely gutting the area and changing it into a tropical Americas. Now, they didn't demolish everything in Dino Land all at once. They mostly demolished to the Chester and Hester's area, which was the little carnival. So Triceratops Spin, the games, the gift shop. Dinosaur as an attraction, as of today, is still standing, and as is the Boneyard. So you can still walk through the land and get to pay respects before it's gone. But I really hope that something that Mickey would have interacted with is still alive and well over here. So I wonder if we have to go into the Boneyard? Sure enough, the very first thing when I'm underneath this bridge, he vibrated. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh boy, looks like the paleontologists have left the Boneyard Dino Dig site open for us to explore. There's slides and nests and lots of neat places to crawl around. Say, if we find some fossils, maybe they'll name a dinosaur after us, like a Mickeysaurus.
I'd be down with a Mickeysaurus. And I love that I literally mentioned that the Boneyard could have one, and sure enough it does. I just overheard a guest talking about Primeval Whirl, which I often forget was over there. Like, that's been gone for 5 or 6 years at this point, well before they confirmed the closure of the land. Heading over here towards Dinosaur, which, just like with the rest of Dino Land, will be closing. Actually, I guess retrofitted to be an Indiana Jones style attraction, kind of similar to California and Tokyo. Maybe with the Aladar over here. I got very close to the queue and he went off.
Here at the Dino Institute, you can travel back in time to meet the dinosaurs. You're over 40 inches tall, that is. Something to do with the space-time continuum. Anyway, if we go, I just hope we don't run into that mean old Carnotaurus. He eats guys like me for lunch. Literally.
Well, spoiler alert, you do run into the Carnotaurus here on Dinosaur. I like that he also gave the height requirement so that you would know ahead of time, like, hey, are you tall enough to ride this? And I got like right underneath the queue here, or like the start of the marquee, and then he triggered. So I do wonder if I did miss out on things over at Magic Kingdom because I didn't physically walk underneath there, but I did with Pooh. Well, I think that's kind of it here in Dino Land. I mean, I'm super glad we got 2 hits here because there's only really 2 things left. But it does make me sad that there could have been more with Chester and Hester's. And I don't know, it just makes me sad this whole land is going away. I get the dislike for it. It did need to be updated. I don't know about outright replaced, but updated at least. But I'm at least optimistic for the Tropical Americas land that's coming. While we're on the outskirts of Dino Land, we'll see if he has anything dinosaur related to say.
What do you call a scared tyrannosaur? A nervous Rex.
He does know we're here. Oh, Mickey, you're so good. So we're leaving Dino Land and headed towards Expedition Everest here in Asia. Now, the thing about this coaster is that it was added later on. It was added in 2006. It was actually the last thing added attraction-wise that is not tied to an already existing film here at Walt Disney World. So a little fun fact for you. So as far as he's concerned, there's nothing in this spot. Heading back here to Cali River Rapids and the Maharaja Jungle Trek. I'm obviously not going to ride Cali River Rapids today because I don't want to be soaked. Plus, I don't think Mickey would fare too well on a water attraction. But I do want to go walk the trail to see if he'll interact with anything over there. And I want to see how big Boxa's getting, the little baby tiger that's here. I've seen some TikToks and videos of him. He's starting to be a pretty big boy. I feel like Animal Kingdom is like a prime park for something like this. Something that's incredibly informative, that can give you tips and tricks and information about animals and the things around you, because this park, kind of like Epcot's, very steeped in edutainment. Even if we don't get any hits in here with this tiger trail and the trail over in Africa, both would have been amazing uses of this if like you didn't get a chance to speak with one of the handlers or any of the cast members in general about just any information regarding the animals. We got a hit.
Hey, pal, what animal sort of looks like a pig, is related to the rhino, and uses its long nose to grab food like an elephant? A tapir.
Oh.
One animal that couldn't make up its mind.
I don't think we even have tapirs here at Animal Kingdom. Maybe we did at some point, but I don't think I'm anywhere near a tapir. Like, what are tapirs from Asia? I think so. I'm in the bat house and I just got another one.
The lovely fruit bats are really strong flyers. They can take off from the ground and hover in midair. I guess that makes them the helicopters of the Animal Kingdom, huh?
I haven't even left. I'm already getting another one. Hold on.
They say a T-Rex could eat more than 100 pounds in one bite. See, if they weren't extinct, then we might be. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Okay, Mickey's going crazy now. I just got a T-Rex one, now he's ringing again.
The reason they land flying fox are so big and heavy, they can't even get off the ground. They can only take off from someplace high, sort of like a hang glider. Sounds like they can use one of Jumbo's magic feathers, huh?
Okay, so weirdly we got a Dino Land one just now, but then we actually got one about flying foxes, which are the foxes on display here. This is crazy, what the heck? Animal Kingdom, how come you have so many of these? There's Mama Sony, and the cast member said that Boxo was nearby. Here he comes. He's gotten so big. All right, no mention of any tigers, and we also went through the aviary. No mention of birds. All right, we are entering Africa, which I feel like some of our biggest hits here are gonna be the trail here as well, Gorilla Falls, as well as over near Kilimanjaro Safari. And there's also Rafiki's Planet Watch. And I don't know if I'm gonna make my way over there because kind of like Tom Sawyer's Island, it's an absolute trek to get there. Now, Festival of the Lion King is in this land as well, but it wasn't always. It originally debuted over in Camp Mini Mickey and was such a hit that even when Camp Mini Mickey was removed to make room for Pandora, they built a theater over here in Africa, and it thematically obviously makes more sense to be over here in this area. I'm currently walking through the Kilimanjaro Safari queue. I'm gonna get up to this main like office area that's like part of the story for the trek, and see if maybe he triggers in there. If he doesn't, I'm gonna turn back and just assume that he's not functioning here anymore. Womp womp, nothing there. But let's go over to Gorilla Falls and see if we have just as much luck as we did on Maharaja. So not only am I hoping to hear information about gorillas, being Gorilla Falls Trail, the okapi is also on this trail. It's one of my favorite animals of all time, as well as some zebra, some hippo. We just entered the hippo area. He's got something to say.
Hey, pal, did you know that hippos are born underwater and learn how to swim before they can walk? No wonder they can hold their breath so long. 8 minutes.
Wow, 8 minutes. All right, we're on the bridge, and he just went off again.
Baby gorillas are a lot like human babies. They can't eat solid food for a long time, and they like to stay close to their moms. But there's a big difference. They don't have to clean their rooms.
Cute. All right, so we only got 2 over in Gorilla Falls Trail. I don't think I'm gonna head out to the Rafiki's Planet Watch. I know I should, because I feel it in my bones that it's gonna work over there. If you guys did have one of these and did go out to Rafiki's Planet Watch when you were a child, let me know if he worked. Maybe that'll encourage me to go back out there next time.
A baby elephant can weigh up to 250 pounds. Oh boy, no wonder Dumbo needed those big ears to fly.
On our way over to Pandora, we're gonna be crossing this bridge up here, that underneath the bridge, there was a dragon that used to live there to promote the upcoming Beastly Kingdom that was never built. Dino Land was built instead. But essentially, the way the dragon worked is that you would take the river taxis around Animal Kingdom, which also don't exist anymore. They were little boats that would just transfer you along the river that I'm walking next to. And you would stop and see this dragon that lived in a cave. It was just a fire effect that shot out to let you know that dragons would at some point come to Animal Kingdom. And they never really did. Except Pandora, I guess technically, a banshee could be considered a dragon. You can actually get pretty close to the rock work. And then yeah, down there is where the fire would come out. He's not vibrating right now, and I didn't necessarily expect him to. My thought is that because this was released after Animal Kingdom opened, and I think by 2003, I think they were done trying to say that Beastly Kingdom was gonna come to the park. As we cross that walkway, we enter into Pandora - the world of Avatar, which is of course based off of the Avatar films. This expansion opened, I believe, in 2017, so well after Pal Mickey was ended. So I doubt he's gonna say anything over here, because this is where Camp Mini Mickey used to be. And this was gonna be the plot of land where Beastly Kingdom was going to be built. So they put Camp Mini Mickey here as a very temporary location. It was just a lot of meet and greets and where Festival of the Lion King used to be, and then they knocked it all down to make room for an arguably better land. But because this entire place was leveled to make room for the new stuff, I doubt Pal Mickey's going to interact with anything over here. But I still thought it'd be fun to take him to see some things he's never seen before. What do you think, Mick? What do you think of the floating mountains, huh? That's wild how they did that, right? Mickey, this is the Banshee. This is what you ride on in this attraction. So it's kind of like a dragon. Ma'ewa, ma'ewa, ma'ewa. And with that, I think that's all of Animal Kingdom. Pretty quick in and out. But yeah, we're done here. I think we're gonna go to Hollywood Studios next. Of all 4 parks, Hollywood Studios has definitely changed the most in the last 15 years. We're talking about a name change. We've got no more opening day attractions, including the Great Movie Ride. Toy Story and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge have replaced the Backlot Studio Tour. So I don't think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this guy here at this park, but I'm very interested to see what he does mention that is no longer here. I think first things first, I think we're gonna turn right down here on Sunset Boulevard towards the Tower of Terror, because this area did exist when Pal Mickey was around.
What did Daisy Duck say when she bought the lipstick at the store? Just put it on my bill.
That's a clever one. And I'm gonna assume based on references to glam and lipstick and buying things that we're talking about Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood, baby. As with most attractions, I don't know how close I need to be. So we'll kind of walk up to the main queue of Tower, just see if he interacts. If not, I can go backwards, like through the gift shop, and see if he wants to tell me anything spooky. Well, unfortunately, nothing for Tower of Terror, which is very scary, very surprising, and sadly also nothing for Rock and Roller Coaster or a Theater of the Stars, which is where Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage is. I've noticed in general he doesn't talk to me about shows because originally I think he would give you show times for like shows, character meet and greets, parades. That for sure does not work anymore with him. So my thought is that it's not going to tell you about it because it's tied to that particular information. I even just checked the store that's a replica of the Carthay Circle Theater, which is where Snow White originally debuted back in 1937-38. And Mickey told me no information about anything to do with that theater or that film. Well, now we're headed next up to the Grauman's Chinese Theater, which did used to house the Great Movie Ride. Now it houses Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which is a trackless dark ride. Mickey, can you literally believe that? It took up until 2020 to finally give you your own attraction, and it's a good one. I like it. A lot of people are really sad that the Great Movie Ride is gone, but I think it either needed to be updated or removed, and it was removed. But because this attraction is so steep in Hollywood Studios or MGM Studios lore, not only with the theater being a replica of the one that's in Los Angeles, the attraction itself that used to be in here, or the handprints of celebrities that are on the ground outside, he's got to communicate in some way with this building. Mickey, do you remember this? Do you remember doing this back in '89? Oh my gosh, you're actually vibrating. Oh my gosh, hold on.
Oh no, this in the what's the mess? Can you believe it? I can. See, when stars become really famous, they put their hands and feet in cement here at the Chinese Theater. Thanks. Maybe our feet will fit into their footprints. Oh boy, I always wanted to see what it was like to be in Goofy's shoes.
No way. The fact that I literally, just as a bit, wanted Mickey to see it, and he started to vibrate on his spot. That is crazy. Sorry, that really caught me off guard. I genuinely did not think it would activate. What? He did mention finding like a hand twin, and I've never done that before. I don't know if I'm gonna do that today, but at some point I'm gonna come through and just put my hands in all the different squares and see who best fits me. So if you guys know who your hand twin is, if you guys have made the choice to come over here and put your hands or feet inside the celebrity spots, let me know who fits you, because it might be someone really surprising. Wow, I'm still kind of flabbergasted by that. Not what I expected at all. No mention of the Great Movie Ride, but to mention Hollywood and putting your hands and feet in the wet cement as a permanent fixture of, your time on, the red carpet, I think is really cool. Now we're not going too far, but I'm gonna head over here to Animation Courtyard. And again, a lot of this area has changed. They used to have an entire animation thing that you could go and see how different animation processes were. There were 3 full-length animated features made here in this park. This was a functioning studio at some point, including Brother Bear, Mulan, and Lilo and Stitch. That is, of course, no longer here. The Voyage of the Little Mermaid show is no longer here, but they are coming back with some kind of replacement for it this summer. And the Disney Junior Dance Party, I don't believe existed here. It may have been the Playhouse Disney one. Well, no mention of Bear in the Big Blue House or Roly Poly Oly, nothing about the animated films that were there, nothing about Ariel and the Little Mermaid. I went over to the Brown Derby and nothing over there. So I fear we may already be running out of theme park that existed when Pal Mickey was here. We went into Walt Disney Presents, nothing. I don't even know if that existed when he was here, but I figured being based around Walt, we would get something. I'm now leaving Pixar Place, which didn't necessarily exist, but it's where Toy Story Mania used to be. I forget when that also opened. I know it was around his time frame, but that's where the entrance to that attraction used to be before Toy Story Land got built. And now we're headed into Toy Story Land, which definitely didn't exist whenever he was around. It was part of the Backlot Studio Tour, which people, of course, very much miss. And then that rolls right into Galaxy's Edge, which is still part of the Backlot Studio Tour, and the Streets of America, which used to be part of the Backlot Studio Tour, and then it became its own walkable feature, which again, people very, very much miss. Entering into Star Wars - Galaxy's Edge, maybe it's Galaxy's Edge, which is Star Wars Land. Again, this attraction, or this land, has not always been here, opened up in 2019, and again replaced part of the Backlot Studio Tour. I always want to say Backlot Movie Tour. Backlot Studio Tour and the, not Rivers of America, Adrian, Streets of America. There we go. I'm getting my attractions crisscrossed today. I've been to a lot of places. Just like with Toy Story Land, I highly doubt Mickey has anything to say about being off-world on another planet. Maybe we'll see Mando and Grogu. This is my child for the day. This is my Grogu. Another attraction that may have still been around whenever Pal Mickey was a thing was Lights, Motors, Action. It was a stunt car show that was in the Streets of America. And I believe currently where we are is where that show used to be. And just like that, we are leaving Batuu, leaving Star Wars, leaving Galaxy's Edge with not a peep from our pal. But that does spit us out here into Grant Avenue. This is remnants of a little bit of Streets of America, as well as this area over here called Muppets Courtyard, which is where Muppet Vision is. Now, Muppet Vision and all of Muppets Courtyard is unfortunately going away at some point. It is going to be changed into a Monsters, Inc. land. They did say they're going to try and preserve Muppet Vision in some capacity. We just don't know how. But this summer, 2025, is when it closes for good. Walking by the Studio Stage 1 store and the Christmas store. I know these are long-standing, both not operational anymore, which is only encouraging them. Oh, he's actually responding. Oh my gosh.
Look, no.
Christmas.
Hollywood people use all sorts of stuff for snow. Salt, shredded plastic, even cornflakes bleached white. Sounds a little strange, I know, but that's snow business.
Something about this just gives me the vibes that inside is an infrared that Mickey's able to communicate with. Maybe it's their black noses, we touched them together. But I do really love that that one had something to do with the making of films, talking about how they have fake snow. That's a cool little tidbit. Sadly though, that is it for Muppets Courtyard and Grant Avenue as a whole. And unfortunately, I can only assume that once those buildings are demolished or changed, that he will no longer function over there. All right, well now we're entering into our final land. We're already done at this park. This is Echo Lake. The main attraction here is probably gonna be Star Tours, which has been here for quite a while. And two shows, Indiana Jones, which was not opening day, but it's been here for a long time as well. And currently, the Hyperion Theater has the Frozen show in it, which did not exist when Pal Mickey was around. Ooh, and there's also Gertie the dinosaur. She's also over here. She is an icon for this park, so I hope he interacts with her. Mickey, do you have anything to say about Gertie? Anything about Gertie the dinosaur? She's an icon. She is the moment. She's the queen of this park. You don't want to talk about her? Fine, I'll talk about her. So Gertie the dinosaur is meant to represent two different things. One is going to be the animation of Gertie. That's her right there from 1914. She was one of the very first well-known animated cartoon stars. And then to also represent the California crazy architecture of the 1930s, since it was very popular to build in larger-than-life things, like a dinosaur, because it got you more customers potentially. Well, that was kind of a lackluster ending. Nothing at Echo Lake. No Star Wars, no Indiana Jones, no Gertie, no Hyperion Theater, which I think at the time would have either been the American Idol experience or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Maybe even Sounds Dangerous. That was another show. I even checked to see if it would reference the Roger Rabbit Easter eggs. Nothing. One final stop is I want to check, I think he's called the director, the cameraman, that's what he's called. This is one of the only areas where you can still find reference to MGM Studios, is this statue right here. Here's the dedication plaque, so it still does say MGM Studios on there, which is when the park opened in 1989, it's what we called it, up until, I want to say, the late 2000s. The world you have entered was created by the Walt Disney Company and is dedicated to Hollywood. Not a place on the map, but a state of mind that exists wherever people dream and wonder and imagine. A place where illusion and reality are fused by technological magic. We welcome you to Hollywood that never was and always will be. Michael Eisner. We'll see if Mickey has one less Hollywood-related thing to say to me.
Why did Miss Piggy decide to tone down her acting style? She didn't want to look like a ham.
Ah, we got a Muppets reference, though. Mickey knows the Muppets are here. Or, for now, Mickey. I'm sorry. All right, we're going to go to our last park. I'll see you guys over at Epcot. I feel like a lot of Epcot's going to be a very mixed bag. On one hand, a lot of World Showcase has not changed, with the exception of some attractions either added or changed over. But a lot of the front has changed with the removal of Future World and the introduction of World Celebration, World Discovery, and World Nature. So I'm very eager to see what he talks about in World Showcase, because I feel like I'm gonna have to really explore to get him to communicate with something like Deep in the Mexico Pavilion or Deep in the France Pavilion, or over at like the Seas Pavilion. Is he still gonna mention Sea Base Alpha? Is he gonna know that Finding Nemo is over there? He clearly won't know about Guardians of the Galaxy, but will he mention Ellen's Energy Adventure? Walking under Spaceship Earth, which is technically part of World Celebration, I can either continue going into the gardens, but I don't think anything's gonna trigger over there. They pretty much leveled everything, so I don't think any of it's gonna be, oh, hold on. He's got something to say about Spaceship Earth.
This big silver ball is Spaceship Earth. Some folks say it looks like a huge golf ball, but you'd have to be over a mile tall if you wanted to play golf with it. And you know, if I were a mile tall, I think I'd be playing basketball.
I have always wondered how tall you have to be to golf with Spaceship Earth, but I love that something inside of the geodesic sphere here woke him up. I almost forgot to see if he'll interact with Epcot and acknowledge that he's here.
How do you tie a rocket to a space station? Why, with an astronaut?
Okay, future related, space related, I'll take it. Starting up here in World Discovery, I think we're gonna head up Guardians of the Galaxy first, which again used to be Ellen's Energy Adventure. And the shell of the building is still there, but they built the coaster behind it. So I wonder if there's anything still left inside of the main building itself. Maybe Mickey can't reference Ellen DeGeneres, but maybe he can reference just the universe of energy, since that's what this pavilion is technically called, or was technically called. Now it's the Other Worlds Pavilion, where planets like Xandar can come and host information about their planet. So when you think about World Showcase, they've got the different countries. This is for the interplanetary neighbors of us. But there is the old Wonders of Life Pavilion Dome. Rest in peace. That was supposed to be the Play Pavilion. Also rest in peace. That didn't happen. but I don't think I could ever get close enough to see if Mickey would communicate with anything. I'm sure something still exists back there. Here is Mission Space, which I want to say existed when he was around. And I feel like one of these planets would have something in it to trigger Mickey. So we'll kind of do a little dance around here in the little courtyard. Not an actual dance, I'm not dancing for you guys. We're gonna walk around, see if he'll say anything about maybe like a famous astronaut or a planet going to Mars, something. I was about to enter the queue and he went off.
Here at Mission Space, anybody at least 44 inches tall can pilot a mission to Mars. Even Goofy, which is sort of scary if you've ever seen him drive. Anyway, if you're not quite that tall, we can explore the surface of Mars or help out at mission control at the training center just to the left of the main entrance.
That's really cool that, again, he mentions the height requirement and that he also mentions the playground that's inside of the exit queue. So while your parent is, throwing their brains up on the attraction, the child can go and play at the playground. I will say, I don't like that you have to actually walk into the queue itself as if you're getting ready to do the attraction for it to do anything. It also didn't reference Green Mission, which was added later because Orange Mission was deemed as too intense. And so because of that, oh, they're actually testing Test Track. And because of that, they had to build a separate version that does not spin, because if you guys are familiar with this attraction, it was actually helped created by NASA, and it's the closest you can get to training like an astronaut without actually having to go through the steps. So it's a centrifuge that genuinely spins. Now, Test Track was an attraction that was here when Pal Mickey was, however, not the same version, and not even the version that they're currently replacing. It's getting ready to experience its third iteration in its lifetime, which is set to open this year. So I don't think I can get close enough for Pal Mickey to acknowledge Test Track, but maybe when the attraction reopens, the little functionality would still be present in there. Entering now into World Celebration Gardens, this is the biggest change that came with the overhaul of Future World. So gone are the days of interventions, and now we have this kind of more open air garden area. A lot of people are a little underwhelmed by it. I think it turned out fairly nice. We also have Communicore Hall, which is the festival center, almost like convention center, festival center. That also is a little underbaked at times, but they have learned to really grow and develop it over the course of the year.
And guess why wind power is such a popular new power source? Because it's got so many fans.
Ooh, mentioning wind power. We love alternative energy source Mickey. The only thing he might know about over here that's technically part of World Celebration is the Imagination Pavilion. I would actually be very surprised if he doesn't mention anything about this attraction or Figment. Mickey, is there anything you want to tell me about using your imagination, using your five senses, the scary Dr. Nigel Channing moon at the end of the attraction? What about Flubber? You want to, oh, that scared me. Hello. Oh, okay. That's a real person behind that door, not a shadow added for effect. Just when I thought there was nothing for Figment, we're out here at the Jumping Fountains.
What does Donald wear to a fancy Hollywood party? Why, a tuxedo. With tails, of course.
That's not any, what? Hold on. Mickey, vibrate again. You just vibrate. There's no way that's what you're going to tell me about the Jumping Fountains.
What does Donald wear to a fancy Hollywood party?
Now, I know the attraction that used to be here was Honey, I Shrunk the Audience and Captain EO. Neither one of those had Donald in it. Why did that go off?
Why did Goofy tiptoe past the fence when he was camping? He didn't want to wake up the sleeping bag.
More Disney characters, but that was like a normal one. I'm confused. Making our way into World Nature, which has two big spots I'm going to check out. One of them is over here on the left called the Land Pavilion, and the other one is ahead of me called the Seas Pavilion. I'm going to have to go into both of those and kind of wander around a little bit to see if there's something Mickey wants to tell me about in there. They also have Moana Journey of Water, but that is new. Things that were in the Land Pavilion when Pal Mickey was around. Living with the Land, which is the slow-moving boat ride, and Soarin' may have been here. I know before Soarin', Food Rocks and Kitchen Cabaret, that's the other one, Pal Mickey does not care about the land pavilion. Not a peep out of this guy. Final piece of world nature we're headed into is going to be the seas with Nemo and friends, originally just called the Living Seas. I don't remember when it switched over, but I want to say Pal Mickey could have seen it during its original time period. There's two ways to enter the pavilion itself. One is going to be to enter the attraction queue, so right here, or you go all the way around and enter through the back end, that's just the aquarium. If he does interact, I do hope that it's kind of in the same vein as the trails over at Animal Kingdom, because this is more or less kind of like that. You can walk into individual rooms and learn about each animal in each room. He's going, he's going.
Why, there's sharks and dolphins upstairs, and imagine the jellyfish in the tank down here. Say, speaking of jellyfish, think they have any peanut butter jellyfish?
Good one, Mick. Right in front of me is the directory for this. I was literally coming over here to film B-roll of this just to show you guys like what's in here, and sure enough, he wanted me to know. I don't remember if he mentioned dolphins, but Disney no longer has dolphins. They actually, within the last 2 or 3 years, separated with them. I don't remember where they went, but I am personally glad that they no longer have dolphins. I was never really okay with them having dolphins. I think dolphins deserve to be in a larger exhibit. I'm sure they were very well taken care of, but I think those are animals that, kind of like the Sea Park down the street, we shouldn't have them like that. Because World Showcase is so edutainment based on language and culture of different countries, I do wonder what Mickey is going to tell me about each individual country. Like, is he going to go into learning the language? Is he going to go into like the cultural aspect of it, like the architecture? This is kind of the part I've been most excited for, just because it feels it could be anything. Okay, he's going off inside of this store. I forget what it's called.
Now, in each country, there's a place where we can play or draw or make our own special art projects. They're called art stops. And sometimes they're sort of hard to spot. Why no? Let's see if we can find them all. Wanna?
He's literally talking about KidCot. Was it never always called KidCot? That's kind of surprising, actually. We actually did an entire video on KidCot. I'll link it in here if you guys want to watch it, where we walked around every single country and found the KidCot spot and did the little activity. It was actually a lot of fun. It was really cute. I definitely didn't expect him to go off in that store, Disney Traders, which makes me feel like I probably should have been going into other retail locations the entire time I've been in the park. Cause like I popped into some just to like either get out of the sun, or like I'm also doing some like pin trading while I'm walking around, because of course I am. Up first, Mexico. I will be very surprised if there is no activation point inside of the pyramid at all. Sure enough, he's going off.
Welcome to Mexico, pal. Or as they say here, bienvenidos. The brightly colored animals inside this pyramid all live in Mexico. They're coyotes, jaguars, and lizards called Gila monsters. Aw, don't worry. There aren't any real monsters. At least I don't think there are.
All right, Mickey with the cultural lesson. I really hope we get one for every single pavilion now. I am a little surprised he didn't call those brightly colored animals what they are, which is alebrijes, but I feel like that's not ever really been like super public knowledge until Coco came out. We've got another one. We just entered the marketplace.
See those animals made of colored paper? Those are piñatas. The kids in Mexico celebrate. They take turns trying to break them open with a stick. If they do, lots of sweet goodies and toys fall out. Really tough, except I don't think I let Goofy near one. He'd probably break everything but the piñata.
Okay, this is gonna probably be the most fun. I'm actually really glad I saved World Showcase for last. Number 3.
Hey, you like Mexican food? Well, if you like chocolate, then you do. Because chocolate came from Mexico. Yep, just before Columbus came to America, the Mayas and the Aztecs were making hot cocoa. But they didn't put sugar in it. They put in chili peppers. Wow, now that's what I call some hot chocolate. Woo-hoo.
The accuracy of these is kind of alarming, because that is true information. Like, we went to Mexico on our Disney cruise. I'll link that video for you guys so you guys can watch that. And we did a tour that talked about chocolate and how chocolate came from Mexico and everything. So it's really cool that this is like legit teaching you things while you're in the country. It's way more interactive than I ever thought that it would have been. That was honestly such a strong start to World Showcase that I really hope we keep this energy going. Up next is Norway. Okay, he's going.
Now we're in Norway, the land of the northern sun. Trolls here in Norway have 8 fingers, 8 toes, and aren't known for taking a lot of baths, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
But if you catch a troll, he has to grant you a wish.
Oh.
If he's really stinky, maybe you just wish you hadn't caught him in the first place, huh?
That's fair. A lot of Norse mythology and this pavilion in general has a lot to do with trolls, so that's not surprising that that's what he wanted to talk about. The attraction that is in this land used to be called Maelstrom, and it was very much about trolls. But if you haven't been to Disney in the last 10 years, you would know this attraction better as Frozen Ever After. Mickey, don't you want to tell me something about China? Mickey, wake up. I've walked through like the gift shop, I've walked through this alleyway, walked through the temple. Nothing, wow. Germany, Germany.
Oh boy, Germany. Here, basic. Tom, that means good day. You see that fellow on the horse? That's St. George. They say he used his magic sword to slay a dragon and rescue a princess. Say, sort of the way Prince Philip saved Sleeping Beauty. I wonder if they know each other.
I don't know. They live in different countries, but maybe they do. This is said man on horse, and I've actually never noticed he's fighting a dragon. This is one of my favorite pavilions, and I've just never paid attention that it was a dragon. Italy, under construction. Italy.
Buongiorno, pal. That means good day in Italian. And gondolas? Well, they're the boats in the lagoon over there. They use them here in Venice to get around because the streets are made of water. Sounds neat, huh? Well, it is, except that each year the city sinks a little lower. Gosh, I sure hope they figure out how to stop it, because I'd much rather see Venice by gondola than by submarine.
I don't think they've learned how to fix that, Mickey. USA, 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 USA. Japan, Japan.
The tough-looking guys on horseback are samurai warriors. Their job was to protect the emperor. They were so good with their swords, they could even stop arrows with them. Sort of like hitting a baseball, only a lot more dangerous. 3 strikes, and you're really out.
I think it's 1 strike and you're out. Ooh. I'm not even in Morocco yet and he wants to talk.
Don't look now, but I think we're in Morocco.
Oh.
Salam. That means peace. Now, Morocco is one of the oldest kingdoms in North Africa, and the king's family has been ruling here for more than 300 years. Gosh, that's longer than the US of A has been the US of A.
Why do you make that scary though? Anyways, Morocco. Number 2 for Morocco.
Now, somewhere around here is the house of the storyteller.
Oh.
Aladdin and Jasmine like to visit him and listen to stories. I wonder if they're over there now. Let's see if we can find them. Wanna?
That's not a thing anymore. Interesting. Random, but I'm in the Fez house right now, which is like that open air, like really beautiful, like mosaic tile work area. And I don't think I've ever heard people speaking above, like they're speaking in Arabic. I've never noticed it. So I don't know if that's something that they've recently fixed or what, but it's a nice detail. I also see this mysterious door in here. Maybe this is where the storyteller thing was. I'm very intrigued by it now. France. France. The UK. United Kingdom.
The United Kingdom. And they drink lots of tea here now, but they didn't always. There wasn't any tea in England until the 1600s. Yep, before that, the only tea they had was royal tea.
Okay. That one was kind of hard to hear because the band is playing right now. But it was something about tea, and I think since the 1600s. I have a very important phone call to take.
Who steals Winnie the Pooh from the rich and gives him to the poor? Why, Christopher Robin Hood.
That's a good one. And finally, Canada. Canada, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Well, you guys, that is a wrap on my latest Disney World 4-Park challenge. But this time, I traveled everywhere with Pal Mickey, a discontinued toy from the 2000s that very much still works. I don't know if Disney knows that he is still very much alive in their parks. I probably missed quite a few by not entering all the attractions I should have, but I was very pleased with the outcome of today. If I had to pick a favorite one, it's probably going to be either the very first one that we had in front of the Roy and Minnie statue over at Magic Kingdom, or the surprise one we had over at Hollywood Studios with the cement with Mickey's handprint. If you guys had a Pal Mickey growing up, let me know if you guys used it in the parks, if you guys still have it at home. Maybe it's time to dust it off, change out the batteries, and bring it with you on your next vacation to see if you can find other locations. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys like our video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, that way you guys get updates on all of our future adventures, and let me know in the comments what was your favorite one that I discovered today. And as always, thanks for making memories with us. I've been Adrian, and this is Pal Mickey, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!